So the reality is that how the business results from empathy, firstly, are growth and retention. You can, when you know what you're buying, customers are more likely to commit because they know what they're going to get. And they will also be retained because the way they're engaged with is honest and they feel supported. So not only are you saying a tagline, you're living the tagline. Existing book optimization, this speaks to upsell and cross-sell. When I trust you as my insurer, I'm likely to get more from you. As I mentioned previously, reduce contact volume. A lot of queries received, particularly in health insurance, are because customers don't understand their communication. You create clarity, people call less because they know exactly what is happening. Improved CX metrics, this speaks to satisfaction, net promoter score. They will improve when communication is more human-centered, and of course, reduced complaints. I'm less likely to complain because I was told why my cover was declined in simplistic language, whereas if I get an email that says section 4 of your policy document, I likely complain until I'm left understanding why it was declined. The point is, with empathetic communication, it's not just to say we're being soft, but it can drive actual business results and return on investment. People will understand their coverage. They will feel valued. They will know where they stand, and they'll believe you when the time comes because you are imbuing empathy through honesty and clarity. So in a nutshell, from my view, that is the ROI. And of course, Akshay and Pedro, I'd like you to come in and share your views as well.
Thanks, Tiego. I think I will just come in from an operational lens perspective, because these customer connections, as you say, Tiego, they do reduce friction if well managed. And that can also then translate to, your bottom line as well. Because as you say, I'll give just one example where we used to know if a particular SMS goes out to members at a particular time, we are more than guaranteed to have an increase and a substantial influx in incoming calls. And most of those people, they just say, I received this SMS, what does it mean? All that was pointing to us was then the SMS message is definitely not clear then if people are just calling to say, what does it say, after reading it. And that's actually cost, So from an operations perspective, you need to look at your expenses in terms of your call center space, the volumes of calls that you are dealing with, and be able to actually see what percentage of those are as a result of me, churning communication. Tiego touched on the frequency of this communication. If you analyze your environment, you should be able to see why you get certain peaks in terms of whether it's calls, it's written communication, it's complaints, then it's able to actually give you an indication. And therein lies the return on the investment, is when you can turn those things around. You reduce those repeat calls and escalations. You start improving your first contact resolution because people don't need to communicate with you in order to understand, the outcome of a claim, or the closure of a task that they had opened. And I think the last one before I hand over to Akshay for me, I just want to re-emphasize it. It's really around this being a strategic capability,
Yes.
Because COVID taught us this. The companies that survived the COVID pandemic are the companies that treated their customers well at the time of need. all those customers that closed their doors, or sorry, rather their ears, and did not respond to the need at the time, they never reopened their doors post the COVID pandemic. So if empathy is not a strategic capability, you know, and I think it's becoming clear that it's not a nice to have anymore. It is a competitive advantage. Organizations that intentionally design empathy into their customer interactions are the ones that are going to be sustainable into the future.